theory of continuity. The reality of movement means the independent, not his own. The reality of movement means the independent reality of space and the objectivity of nature. That's almost like a tautology. Let's try to decipher this a bit if possible. Now, I think the reality of movement, reality of the movement. Reality now can, as we said, be contrasted with illusion. It can be contrasted with ideality. And Allama Iqbal has been saying that the reality of movement requires independent space. Depending on your notion of space. And here he seems to mean that by space what Mutakallimin meant, basically empty, al-faragh, what we call al-faragh in Arabic, emptiness. And probably, so if I want to go from one point to another, there must be empty room between these points. So if there is no room, so that space is supposed to be a room, emptiness, and it has to be, I don't know why it needs to be independent. Well, independent in the sense that independent of the objects, I guess. Because if I'm trying to think, from Allama Iqbal's viewpoint. So if you have a relative space, like where space is just a relationship between matter, then probably space is not independent according to Allama Iqbal. But that's not necessarily true. Space doesn't have to be a thing in Newtonian sense, for example, for it to be independent. It's possible that these are two bodies, and there's a lot of emptiness in between them, and emptiness in the sense that there's a matter and energy, but the matter is dispersed. It's not solid, I guess. So there's enough space between roaming between neutron and electrons, etc., for this body to move from here to here. So doesn't need to be a thing if by independently means. So relative space, if we call a space this space, the room between these two bodies, that can be an independent space, even though it's not independent in the sense that it exists. It exists without matter, for example, or without things. So if all matter is taken out, there might not be any space. So in that sense, space is not independent. So what I'm saying is, you don't need independent space in Iqbal's sense, or at least what he's implying. And it's not clear what does he mean by reality, because if he means by reality objectivity, then that's fine. But if he means by reality necessarily non-ideality, might not be necessarily true. I don't know. And you don't need independent reality of space. Okay, independent reality, independent of what? Independent of object, independent of observer. And you need objectivity of nature, like nature is not an illusion. It's not clear what he means by objectivity of nature. It's not a creation of, it's not an illusion. It's independent of my imagination. Okay, so is that what he means by objectivity, or by objectivity he means that it is material, for example, which I don't think he means it is necessarily material. He doesn't even recognize that we have seen already the absolute distinction between matter and mind, or matter or spirit. So it's not clear what he means here. Okay. And then he goes on to criticize Russell, I think. Yeah. He critiques Russell's assumed so-called solution, which is presented here. But the identity of continuity and the infinite divisibility of space is no solution of this difficulty. So we'll continue from here, inshallah, next time. Subhanakallah wa bihamdika nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Wa salli wa sallam ala sayyidina wa mawlana Muhammadin wa ala ali sayyidina wa mawlana Muhammadin wa barik wa sallim ala sayyidina rahmatika ya arhamar rahimin.